So what's up? What's up? Hope there's some people out there. I gotta reopen up my chat window here. Let's see. Just Shazam it. Alright, well, looks like I got some of you on here. Let me get this chat popped out. Okay, cool. So, how's it going? Again, this is going to be dual credit, U.S. history. Mind if I inquire what are the songs you're using? That was, if you look up electro swing, which is a real music category. So, there you go. That is a real music category called electro swing. Don't even ask me why or how. Both those questions I could not answer for you. Alright, I'm going to be real professional with my stream here. Make sure everything is looking okay. It says I'm dropping frames. I'm going to have to change my outputs that I have going on. There we go. Okay, so can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can. I just had to change my outputs a little bit there. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to our first live stream. Yeah. So we'll get to it. Also, please let me know if you can't hear me, or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna have to change some of these outputs and how the chat box is popping up and stuff like that. So I'll get to it eventually. Anyways, here's what I want you to do if you're joining us live. Is first of all click on the pair. Oh, I've got echo. It's echoing. All right, let me look at that. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Try it now. Hecky echo. Echo, 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 echo. Is it still bad? It's still okay. It's still got an echo. All right, try that. Can you hear me? Okay, try that. Can you guys hear me? Or does it still have a weird echo? Is that better? Okay, let me know if it gets worse. So, okay, good. See, I'm gonna have to play around with settings until I get this completely figured out. So I'm not too worried. Awesome. Anyways, what I was gonna say was in our pair deck session here, there is a little code right here. So you can just go to join PD and then CYSRB, confused yards, switch red bananas, or bandanas, I can read. It was better before I changed it the second time. My chats are lagging. I messed it up again. Awesome, yay! I'm so good at this. Okay, so it should work now. See if that's better. I think I've got a mic doubling. First and second changed work, but the third one brought the echo back. Okay, see if it's better now. We'll see. I also want to make sure that my audio here is going through the right device. So let's check that. Yeah, I figured that's what's going on. Is I'm seeing like a huge chat lag. So I'm not surprised. Capture. There, did I fix it? Did that do it? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so go ahead, tell me just how you guys are doing in the chat. How are your families doing? You don't have to type it into Paradic if you don't want to. But yeah, we'll get this thing rolling. I just want to see how you guys are doing, and please let me know if the echo is a problem. So. Let's see what you guys have typed into Pear Deck while I'm waiting here. So lots of stuff. So, okay, people know a lot. Good. Wow, it's a lot of stuff. A lot. I don't want to make it too... Okay, this had to have been Ethan. I know it. There were tensions with Hitler in Europe, and the United States weren't going to get involved. We hit Japan with 2 nuclear bombs. Okay. Yeah, all good stuff. Switzerland stayed neutral. That's what we should know. Okay, Poland, France. He did not invade... Well, I guess he technically did invade Italy after they switched sides, but... Good. Lots of stuff. World War II is one of my favorite things to learn about. Well, good. You should be in good hands then. By the way, let's do a quick audio check. I know this is going to take about a minute, but can you guys actually hear me? Because I'm not seeing any new comments posted in the chat, so I'm kind of freaking out that everything is... Oh, this person says, probably going to watch a mini-series after this. Do not go watch Band of Brothers. Please don't. Please don't watch Band of Brothers. Please don't. You'll hurt my heart if you go watch Band of Brothers. If you've seen Band of Brothers, please, by the way, tell me in the chat. Like, I would be very inspired and also angry at you, but that's okay. Believe it or not, I'm actually having trouble getting into Paradeck. I do indeed believe that. So, not surprised. Paradeck's got some issues. Okay, so, anyways, as it looks like things are sort of kind of good. Yeah, okay, good, sweet. Yeah, anyways, I could tell a long Band of Brothers story, but, yeah. Alright, so it looks like you guys have told me that the chat is good. Ethan's just now starting his response, that's fine. I hope you guys are doing well. I talked to some of you guys on Monday, that you're, you know, about some of your guys and working and that kind of stuff. I hope you're staying safe, washing your hands, watching the Baby Shark rendition of washing your hands. Highly recommend. So, anyways, yeah. For me, I guess while I wait on Ethan and others to finish their responses. It's been okay. It's a big change. I watched Band of Brothers before high school. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, by the way, if you have a nickname in here, like Zero Cell, Iridium, etc., just like post what your real name is, so that actually like I know who I'm talking to. But whoever watched Band of Brothers before high school, do you know why it's bad? Because I can ask one question and you will instantaneously realize that it's bad. I'll give you a second to respond because I know there's going to be some lag in chat, before it actually shows up. Anyways, so it looks like you guys know a lot, which is good. I'm glad you're excited about World War One. You'll notice we're starting a few years before technically the United States is getting them. So as I'm waiting for their response there, let's talk about some general guidelines for how this thing's going to go, right? So number one, you can ask any questions anytime in here. Rule number two is our classic rule number one. I look like a highlighter? Thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, you want to see? I don't even know if I have it with me right now. Oh yeah, no, I do. Here. So my hair has gotten so long that I've had to start taking hair bands, and so like this, and I'm doing this with my hair now because my hair is so ridiculously irritating in my face, and if you can imagine me like running with this, it is like I look ridiculous. So I did say it is highly plagiarized from another book. Yeah, it is. So it was based on this guy. The author is Stephen Ambrose, and he did plagiarize a whole bunch of stuff, but it's terrible for another reason, and that is, oh hey Jonathan, how are you, man? The reason why it's terrible is how many Germans do you think that Stephen Ambrose interviewed to write that book, which then he turned into a miniseries? I'll let you venture a guess how many Germans they interviewed in that story. So I'm being harassed. I'm just trying to vibe in the DCUSH. Yeah. Gotta get those sweet vibes, man. Yeah, no. The answer is 0 Germans were interviewed in the making of that. And if you go and watch it, like go watch Band of Brothers, like one American soldier will kill like 45 Germans before getting injured or shot or whatever. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, if that's the case, like wouldn't the war have been over in like 3 months, right? Like, yeah, so, yeah, no, not so much. Yeah. So, anyways, all that aside, World War II. All right, looks like you guys know a lot. By the way, you will have to manually. I was worried about attendance before 2 p.m., so I went through and interacted with everything early. Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, 0. Good job, Ethan. Yeah, it didn't prompt you for a code. No, it shouldn't have. It should have auto-logged you in, Olivia. So no worries. All right. So what are we here to do? We're gonna take kind of the pared down version of World War II here, and we are going to first of all explain the decisions that are behind the U.S. strategy from 1939 to 1943. In the immortal words of George Bush, we're going to talk about some strategery and why the U.S. is approaching the war the way it is. Second, we are going to look at the mobilization of the war in terms of how it's going to affect race and gender. Now, again, this is kind of like a surface level pass. We'll do 2 days of World War II. It's the most we can do on a reduced schedule, but that's what we're trying to achieve here. Okay. In this live stream, I will take you guys through the mini lesson. But in terms of the stuff with race and gender, that's going to be for you to check out. So here's what I'd recommend you do. I would probably take your phone, which you're having to be stuck on because I'm still trying to get this live stream improved in your Chromebooks, and I've asked multiple times now. And I would just like set it next to your Chromebook so you can listen to me. And that way you can do the mini lesson at the same time we do that. However, please stop me. You can have the Pear Deck session open. That's really what I would do. And if there's places to respond, do it. And other than that, just, you know, it's pretty straightforward. One thing you can do, by the way, to make sure that I see your question in the chat is you can put the @ symbol and then at Mr. Ridgway, and it will like yellow highlight it for me that like you're trying to specifically ask me something. But I will promise that I will go back and I will answer any questions that you guys have. So it sounds like you guys know a lot, which is good. If you know a lot of background content, now really what I'm going to try to do is try to tell you the why. And that's really what we're going to get to. So, alrighty. By the way, you will have to manually advance the slides because all of this Pear Deck is student paced. Okay? So the U.S. in World War II from 1939 to 1943. Go ahead and click the piece of paper to get the notes. Make a copy of it. I'll give you some time to do that while you write down these questions. Okay? You're watching the live stream on Chromebook? Please tell me how you were able to do so, Cheyenne. Or you could just get a dual monitor. Okay, I don't even have a dual monitor, so just saying. So how do countries involve themselves in overseas conflicts, and how do nations balance military and political objectives and aims in wartime? Also, I'll give you 15 points if you know what kind of aircraft that is below that picture. 15 points not included. Oh, there's some emails. It won't let me do the chat on YouTube, but I'm watching on my Chromebook. Really? It won't let you live chat, Alexa? I'm sorry. That sucks. Oh, somebody had a question. I just deleted the email. Ooh. I think Starks is working on it right now. So if you're able to get it up on your Chromebook, that's awesome. Okay. You can watch it, but I can't comment on Chromebook. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, maybe we'll just have to like comment off phones or something. I don't know. Maybe we need to figure out like a background link or chat or something. A B-17E. No, good guess. No. I don't believe that's a B-17. Oh, Hunter sent me a picture of his thing. I looked it up on YouTube and it popped up. Okay. It's because Chromebook's premium logging in so you can't comment. Wow, Ethan. Are you sure? Sure it's a B-17? It is a B-17. Do you have to do notes online? You prefer writing them out? Yeah, that's fine. You can totally just write them out. Yes, B-17. I was looking for B-17 Flying Fortress. That was the answer I was looking for. But it technically is a B-17. All right, 1 second, guys. Let me get the door. And then we will start our lesson. I've got the camera turned too. You're all good. Okay, so.
They're just gonna have to get used to it.
Oh no, it's fine. You'll probably hear a book in the background.
Earlier.
Yeah, I know. He's running around naked. Oh my gosh. All right. Hey, James. You want to go on a walk soon? So, how do countries involve themselves in overseas conflicts, and how do nations balance military and political objectives? Any questions so far? We looks like we're doing fine. So, all right, the U.S. getting involved in World War II. Okay, so historians are going to tell you a bunch of different answers. Okay, some historians will say that World War II is going to start in 1934 when Japan invades Manchuria. Some are going to say 39. Others are going to say 41. For our purposes here, we're going to go ahead and say that it doesn't really matter because we're looking at the whole context of the war, right? But really what I want to take some time to focus on is what's going to happen in between 1939 and 1941, where if World War II has gone global, which it does by 1939, why, like, what is the U.S. doing in that 2-year period? The answer is a whole bunch of things, right? So again, FDR is in charge. I know it seems like forever since we actually talked about FDR in class, but FDR is president, and now that he's in his, I believe his second or third term, the United States has been watching World War II and is, the B-17E is the Flying Fortress. Is it? I thought it was just the B-17. I didn't know how to like an E on it, but I'm gonna read. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard the E tagged onto the end of it. But anyways, Roosevelt's trying to balance basically two different things in his hands at the same time. And that is, number one, he knows that the United States is probably eventually going to get involved. But at the same time, he has to be very aware of a trend that's going on in the United States, and that is isolationism. It's this idea that the U.S. should, I mean, we're surrounded by two oceans. We got the Atlantic, Pacific, and we don't have to get involved. And you can see a whole bunch of this. There's a whole series of them in Congress called the Neutrality Acts. And there are these ridiculous laws, basically, that Congress practices or passes, where they're like, you know, like the United States can't get involved in overseas wars and conflicts, which, of course, it has and it can, and it will continue to do so. But what FDR is going to try to do is basically circumvent these in a whole bunch of ways. So he's looking for loopholes because, again, he wants to get the United States ready, but at the same time, he has to be very conscious of isolationism. So he's going to get around it with two things, and that is, number one, the Lend-Lease Act, where the U.S. is going to lend ships to Great Britain, because again, Great Britain at this point is suffering under the U-boat threat, and again, U-boat is the German submarines, and of course, the U.S. is never going to get those ships back. You know, we're just going to lend it to them, right? It's like a Booker this morning said, can I borrow your food? Like, no, I don't want that back once you've used it, right? And then the second thing is cash and carry. So some of these neutrality acts stop the United States from shipping arms to other countries, and I mean like guns. And so the way the U.S. gets around that is by saying, well, if you bring the ships here, we will let you take them with you, and off you go. So I'll pause for about a minute and give chat some time to, if you have questions, go ahead and just drop them in there, and we can kind of dissect this more if you need to. While I noisily eat tortilla chips. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, so seems like we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and jump it on. Okay. So I know, right? Crunch, 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 munch, munch, munch. What else is going on? Well, a whole bunch of other overseas events, and we really need to take some time to talk about Japan because it is going to be Japan that's going to get the United States involved in World War II. Okay. ASMR chip. Yeah. Hey man, beats ASMR jackhammer, right? Which we had. What was that? Like the 2 weeks before we left. So, anyways, so we got to talk about Japan. So first of all, Japan had begun expanding their territory overseas after World War II. Okay, and in 1933 and 1934, and then for the whole rest of the war, they are basically just marching around the anyways, they're just marching around basically the Asia, right? Outside of that, okay, the U.S. is looking at Japan and at the same time is saying, this is not okay. Like, and they start to put in place trade and, in particular, oil embargoes. Okay. Now, Japan is a super tiny island. They do not have what do you call it? A lot of natural resources. So on that note, that's like when Japan cuts off supplies to the United, or when Japan gets cut off from supplies to the United States, that's a big deal. Okay. And so Japan makes the decision pretty early on that they are going to have to eventually deal with the United States one way or the other. And the idea is, okay, that maybe through an attack they can just really, if you go back and read a lot of the Japanese admirals, journals and stuff like that, they believe that the U.S. was very lackadaisical. That if it was like sudden, just sucker punched, they would sue for peace rather than fight, which was a horrible bet in retrospect. So that is the idea behind Pearl Harbor. And really what they're trying to do at Pearl Harbor is eliminate the newest weapon that is really the new power in naval warfare, and that is aircraft carriers. Now, if you don't know a lot about World War II, aircraft carriers is the real new muscle in naval warfare. And the reason why is because in World War II, most battles between ships, nearly all of them, the ships never see each other. It's all conducted from airplanes attacking ships. Now, the reasons for this are complicated, and I don't want to get into too much, but the big thing that we really need to take away from Pearl Harbor is that most of the U.S. fleet gets destroyed, the Pacific Fleet does, except for the aircraft carriers, and that's going to be a big deal. They're out doing some training maneuvers outside of Pearl Harbor, which if you don't know where Pearl Harbor is, it's in Hawaii, and so they do not get hit, and that is a big deal. The other thing that Japan, you can kind of tell what their intention was in terms of a sucker punch, is they did not target the oil fields at Pearl Harbor, and so you can kind of tell just by that, by missing the oil fields, you would eliminate oil fields if you're expecting a conflict to go very, very long, right? Because that's more of a long-term supply issue. They're more interested in hitting the ships that are there immediately. And so outside of that, the U.S. naval fleet is on its knees. It's not going to recover for years, but it will happen. But anyways, all that aside, Japan's going to use that time to basically take over most of the Pacific. And if I pull up a map here, let's get real fancy. Japan, Pacific, World War II map. So... yeah. So let's see. Yeah, so their zone of influence is remarkably huge. This is a pretty, yeah. And Japan has a name for this. They called it the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. It's we're going to benefit all Asian people, which was not what they wanted to do, but they just kind of called it that for propaganda purposes. So you can kind of see it right there. It's like, and here's a Hawaii out here. So like this is a massive area. So yeah, it's and again, an embargo is a shutdown of trade. So any questions with that? I saw Olivia ask Mr. Ridgway, same question as Hannah, why can't we do two-way videos? The reason is because the school is concerned about like teachers doing something inappropriate on video. That's why. I like how my wife only leaves me, like, these are my tortilla chips. She gets all the good ones. What's worse, chip ASMR or jackhammer ASMR? Yeah, I think I know. I've learned everything I know about World War II by playing Hearts of Iron. Oh my god. It's like saying, like, I learned history by playing Assassin's Creed. Anyways, I digress. Let's move on. I'm not seeing any questions about this, so cool. We must be Gucci. Alright, so at this point, the U.S. is going to start thinking about how it wants to approach this conflict, right? It has two options. It can either, one, eliminate Japan first, or two, eliminate Germany first. And at this point, okay, Germany, Japan, and Italy have signed something called the Tripartite Pact. And for now, the new alternative, okay, name, they call themselves the Axis powers. Okay, Britain, Russia, and the U.S., okay, are now all going to be called and considered the Allies, okay? 1941 is going to be a really, really big change for a couple of reasons. Number one, because, again, the United States is going to get involved in the war, and then number two, it is going to get Russia much more heavily involved in terms of, Germany trying to invade them again. So, anyways, let's talk about what the U.S. is going to do, right? They have a choice. And what, early after Pearl Harbor happens, basically a couple months later, FDR and the Prime Minister of Great Britain, his name's Winston Churchill, they meet, and they decide that they are going to sign something called the Atlantic Charter. Now, this Atlantic Charter, you absolutely need to know. They agree, okay, in this charter, that they are going to defeat Germany first, and then stay, like, just for now, stay on the defensive against Japan. And when Germany is fully defeated, they are going to turn their attention fully towards the Japanese. Now, my question for you is, why do you think so? So, do you agree with the U.S.'s strategy? Why or why not? You can write this on Pear Deck if you'd like to. Some of you have already responded, so I will get to those here in a second. Give you some time to think. You can either post it in chat or post it on Pear Deck. It's up to you. I don't want to know what wall rubber ASMR is, by the way. I have zero interest. sure we're all good here. So, as you guys are starting to post your responses, I'll go ahead and start to check them out. It looks like you're just now getting to them. So here's what some other people said. If the Allies would have tried to take out the smaller countries first, Germany would have definitely attacked the U.S. fleet. We may not have been able to handle that. So yes, I think the U.S. is smart. Okay. Okay. And this answer right here is starting to get to the core reason. I believe that an effective strategy is eliminate Germany first, remove the threat from several of the Allied nation home countries, which afterward allowed them to act against the Japanese, which is definitely true. Literally and figuratively, Britain is on an island. All of Europe, Norway, Spain is kind of conquered by Hitler in a sort of way. Italy. All of them are under the thumb of Hitler, and so if you just leave Germany alone and you just let England get wiped out, that cannot happen. And I'm starting to see some other people kind of put those answers here. So Germany is a more powerful threat who, if not taken out, could cause the most damage. Yeah, there's probably that too. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Looks like some good stuff coming in. So let's carry on, shall we? And this is where we're going to now get the U.S. actually involved, okay? But again, you need to understand that, like, wartime decisions aren't just like, yep, let's do it, let's go. Like, the United States is making decisions in context, which means they have to think about, like, what lots of different people are wanting. So Stalin, okay, who has at this point been invaded by the Soviet Union, is screaming to the Allies to invade Germany as soon as possible. And if you can't tell why, again, look down at the map that is down in this corner, or whatever corner, I don't know, the video's mirrored. And you can see that this kind of pinkish area over here, okay, that is Hitler marching across Russia. And Stalin, the leader of Russia, is begging them to invade because it will relieve some of the pressure on Germany. However, the United States and Britain are not ready. Like, again, England has just lost all of their basically army and most of their supplies when Hitler conquered France, and most of the British army was over there. And then the United States is like just gearing up. And so again, with the United States demanding, again, the United States people, again, they've just gone through Pearl Harbor. Even though the United States isn't ready, they got to do something, right? And so they decide to start with three minor things, and that is they're going to bomb. They're going to bomb the kind of like the, I don't know, like the factories, the institutions, and what does it say? Stalin, the leader of Russia. Oh no! Oh, I said that. Okay, I was like, oh no, I made a typo. Yeah, Soviet Union, Russia, whatever, same thing. Like they're going to bomb, and this is going to be something kind of hard to understand. Is they're going to bomb Germany, and I don't just mean like factories. I also mean the people. Like this is World War II, and things have gotten to a point where, for all sides, citizens are considered to be an active target, and that can be like a hard thing sometimes for people to understand. Yeah, like the United States kills a lot of innocent civilians, if you want to think of it that way. But innocent, we have to kind of look at in context, because no side thought civilians were innocent. So anyways, air bombing raids. The second thing is going to be the invasion of North Africa, which I'm going to touch on very briefly here in a second. And then third, the invasion of Italy, which is going to be called Operation Avalanche. So anyways, I will give you a moment to post questions if you have, as people are memeing over debating what if it's called the Soviet Union or Russia. Yeah, whatever. Jeezums. Okay, so looks like there's no questions. I try to go to about 40. I've noticed it's about like 30 or 40 seconds is the lag time. So cool. All right, dope. Moving on. Okay. Operation Torch in North Africa. When the U.S. invades North Africa, I know you're like looking at like, wait, why Africa? Because there are Germans there, and more specifically also Italians. They're trying to push Axis troops out of there. Now, eventually, as they start to kind of get kicked back, you know, the idea is that look at us trying, you know, trying to invade, and that being said, does North Africa really matter? No, it doesn't. There's very few casualties, relatively speaking, but the big reason why Operation Torch is important is, number one, it looks like the United States and Britain are doing something to Stalin, and then number two, you know, it's giving U.S. troops practice and training, which is the real big thing. So 58 seconds lag. Dang, that's a long time. That's a long time. I'll have to see if I can get that sped up somehow, because that's just like, I need it to be like 5 seconds, not 58. Anyways, so that's basically Operation Torch. There's some super famous stuff with Erwin Rommel that I would love to talk about, you know, like the Desert Fox, but we just simply don't have time. So moving on. Okay. Operation Avalanche. Okay. That is the name of an Operation Husky. That is the name of the invasion of Italy. Okay. Now, this one is not at all like Operation Torch. The idea is, and mostly this is pushed by Churchill, he calls it the soft underbelly of Europe, is Italy. Now, if you remember, okay, Italy was part of that Axis, you know, pact with Germany and Japan. Now, Mussolini, who was the leader of Italy, okay, he's the guy who invents fascism, okay, he has kind of been eclipsed by his protege, so to speak. Mussolini, when it's kind of weird, when Italy gets invaded by the United States, his own people basically rise up and kill him. He gets overthrown. And that's when German forces are like, oh crap, we can't have, like, you know, the Allies marching up, you know, into Germany from Italy, and German forces just flood down there. Okay, now, so it kind of, the idea behind this is, yes, it's going to be a second front. The initial invasion goes fine. Italy surrenders and switches sides, like they do in World War I. At least they're consistent, right? But besides that, once Italy like quits and Hitler's like, oh crap, and they drop troops down in there, it is an incredibly bloody march. No, I haven't. Sorry. It's an incredibly bloody march northward. Basically, I will tell you, if you don't know why this goes so slowly, the reason is because Italy has something called the Alps, and that makes it really, really hard to attack. And so there's these lines of defense that the Germans have, and actually the Allies, meaning Britain and the United States, will not even conquer all, really, not even really all of Italy by the time that Hitler even surrenders in the first place. Well, he doesn't surrender, shoots himself, but you got the idea, right? So, there you go. All right. Outside of that, I want you to take some time here and draw or type 2 things you learned in on Pear Deck. Okay. Draw me 2, 2 beautiful things you've learned about U.S. strategy in World War II. And then that will be the end of our live stream here that we will do. Somebody asked, am I going to stream StarCraft after this? Maybe. Depends. Oh, no, I think I might have a meeting at 3:15. I might be able to do a really quick Twitch stream, but... also need to eat food, which you would think would be a thing. So anyways, I'll give it about a minute for you guys to draw. While you're doing that, okay, if you keep going on here, there are two drawings you're going to do, and they're digital stations, okay? And you make a Google drawing for each of them. Just be ready, because when we talk about gender and race in World War II, for example, like the gender one, everybody's probably seen the very classic Rosie the Riveter poster, and if you have not, here's what that looks like. My goal here is to have you understand that Rosie the Riveter never existed. And it's more false than it is true. That's the poster right there. So, there's going to be a reason why that's not correct. Okay. Other than that, let's see. Yeah, these 2 Google drawings, the race one's going to be particularly painful, especially what was done to Japanese Americans. Somebody asked, so the only things that we must complete other than the project progress thing and this, of course, is the Google drawing stuff, right? Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. I really, really appreciate that. And you are correct. So I went ahead and I pushed your Amusing the Million and only yesterday due dates back to the 17th, okay? If you did not see that on the schedule, please make sure you're reading the schedule and checking that out. I'm going to put out an announcement about it on Remind, but I pushed that time back. Now, thank you so much for bringing up Canvas, and there is something there where I just want you to take some time to let me know how you're doing on your project, because it has been a while, and a lot has happened since then. And so I have here in the modules, right below today's lesson, it says, I think it's like update on the project or something like that. Let's see where it is. There it is. Right there. There we go. So it says ATM OI Project Progress Survey right here. Okay. So click it. Okay. And then it just asks you some questions like select one of the following options. I haven't started on my project. I've made some progress on my project, but not a lot. This just helps me, like, either I give you a phone call or like we sit down and talk about it. I don't know. Maybe we can do some kind of chat or something. So what do you think's going well with your project? What do you need to work on more? Other than that. So, hey, Ian. Okay, so with that being said, I do have a meeting at 3:15, so I will have to be jumping into that relatively soon. Got a presentation to do. Does anybody have any particular questions outside of that? So, give you guys some time to respond. I know there's some lag as I get the hair out of my face. Zoom? What about Zoom? If you're asking, is it a Zoom meeting? Yes, it is. Look at the drawings, please, as long as they're appropriate. Operation Torch, thank you. That was just... Didn't know about neutrality acts? Nice. Wow, some of these drawings are very intricate. Nope, not helpful. Japan. Band of Brothers bad? Yeah, sorry. I'm not going to recommend Band of Brothers to you. Looks like somebody's still finishing that one. Okay, good. Yeah, so, excellent. SC2 with Booker? No. Booker's out. I think they're taking a drive right now just to get him out of the house. My mom. The meeting's with my mom. No. I think my wife took him. Just go, look around. That kind of good stuff. So, all right, guys. That's all I got for you right now. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream unless there's, like, any more questions in the next, like, minute. But other than that, yeah, I'm going to, try to get stuff, somewhat set up here. And then, yeah, that's about it. So, all right. I'm going to be a fancy streamer here. Get stuff all turned off. I wish I could have seen how many people were actually in